Yeah, okay, there we go. Slightly annoying. You have to do this video twice. It's the beginning of it. Anyway, so this wrecking machine guy was complaining on one of my other videos that I didn't respond to his video, so I figure, okay, I'll respond to a stupid video. But it looked like a stupid video, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be stupid, but I don't know what it's going to be. Anyway, he used to be a decent chap, but yeah, he's gotten older and dumber looking. But anyway, that happens to people.
Hello! Thought I'd make a video, and well, that wasn't an unusual loud start. Hello! Yeah. I'm subscribed to a chap called Inmendham. Gary is his human name, and I've gone quite a dark direction in the house. Bear with me.
Yeah, alright.
And then there was light, revealing my chubby face.
Yes, you are.
The point of this video is that he's gone back to this other sub-channel he did called Just Say No to Kids.
Yes, do that.
And in fact, one of his first videos he did in that channel was a response to me, which was one of my first videos.
Wow, that must have been a long time ago or something, right? I don't remember that, but okay. I remember you, but I don't quite remember the video. But anyway,
the point
carry
of
on.
your channel is that you're sort of propagating the idea that overpopulation is a problem. Excuse me. Got man flu, by the way. Overpopulation is a problem. It needs to be policed, and should be some kind of policy and enforcement's used to.
Yeah, well, look, you know, again, I don't think you even need to do that, really. Just take away the subsidies, and I think the problem goes away, a big part of it, anyway. And with time, you know, I think as things wind down, it's going to get harder and harder to have kids that are going to say, oh, yeah, this is a great idea, let's do this again. No, they're going to keep, more and more kids are going to say, fuck it, I don't want to mess with this shit. I want to whore around and have 3D lesbian fun and shit.
Disinterest people in having more than, say, 2 children for every couple. Now, I made a video response to you back then, in a similar sort of way as I am now, asking, well, how would you police that? How would you enforce it?
Well, like I said, back then I didn't really realize how few people have most of the kids. It's a very small percentage of the human race that is maintaining all the excess population, like the bottom 10%. So basically, most people do have 1 or less kids already. Most people. Most females have 1 kid or less. So it's a minority issue problem. And like I said, most of those people having these kids are depending on subsidies. And so if you take away the subsidies, that's going to diminish the number of kids probably rather substantially. You know, and if you make a deal on the welfare thing, you know, you get more welfare if you get neutered. You know, get yourself fixed, we'll give you more welfare.
What would the incentives be, or the disincentives, whatever, be to discourage people? And I've watched your original response again to kind of refresh my mind, and I don't know why it didn't then, but it seems to horrify me now. It's very strange, because at one point in your video, you say something like, it doesn't have to be draconian, you know, no one has to get shot. And then in the next sentence, or the sentence after, you talk about how once you've sorted out in your own country, it has to be a worldwide thing. And that's when you have to use policies and weapons to enforce other countries to do the same thing.
Well, I don't know if I said that, though. You don't have to use weapons. I mean, you know, some countries it doesn't matter because there's nothing to stop you. But, yeah, you negotiate. You say, look, you want UN food? Yeah, reduce population, and we'll give you more UN food. You know, that kind of shit. Carrots, carrots, carrots. Carrots were possible. But, you know, frankly, you know, I mean, there's no point in lying, right? I mean, there's no point in me lying and saying, okay, well, you know, if it came to it. No, I mean, you know, if it came to it, if there was no choice and you got to whap people with a stick, then you whap them with a stick. But I'm just saying, you don't need to. So that's the point.
So you are talking about killing people, essentially. The problem is, I mean, let me just explain what I think first of all. Obviously, people shouldn't have children if they can't look after them financially, or, you know, not mature enough. You shouldn't have kids.
Yeah, well, I don't think anybody's mature enough, right? So, I mean, right there, you already put a limit on it, right? I mean, you know. But yeah, the financial thing should come first, right? It's your entertainment, it's your recreation, it's your pet. You shouldn't force other people to pay for it, that's for damn sure. And you should be obligated to take the best care possible of it. That's your obligation. It's a sensitive creature, you have an obligation to it. If you can't meet those obligations, then fuck you. You don't get to have kids.
Is if they can't do the job properly. I agree with that. And I'm gonna.
Yeah, but properly, again, there's no properly, right? I mean, you can't take the improper risk out of it. There's no proper way to raise me. There just wasn't. All right, because I was inevitably, it seemed to me, it seems just that I was on a course where I'm just, I was just born a little too smart. And you aren't going to fool me with these bullshit and the lies and the nonsense. So,
To be confident enough in saying that I think that's what you agree with as well, that you don't think we should have kids if they can't look after them.
Yeah, that's right.
But the idea of now giving the government, some kind of right over my reproductive process.
Well, whatever. It's a regulation. We regulate lots of stuff. We don't let you have a driver's. Don't let you drive unless you get a license and all that kind of crap. So yeah, like any other activity, you license it and you fee it and you make it. You do what you can to get people to do it right.
Shocks me. I mean, how is this argument not the same? Something could be used against people doing abortions. Don't get me wrong, creating life's a big responsibility.
Well, I don't know what abortion has to do with it, but again, there's no rational argument about abortion. There just isn't. The animals right now, the mice that they're torturing in laboratories right now, are more conscious, more aware, more substantial an entity than, most one-year-old kids.
With lots of effects that do affect other people, or vice versa. But that doesn't now mean that by default the government should be able to decide who breeds or who doesn't, or how many children you should have. Why the fuck should the government say who?
Well, they're not saying it. They're just saying you're not going to get a free ride. If you want kids, you're going to have to earn it. That's the standard. The government doesn't hand out yachts or mansions or even plastic surgery. They don't give that stuff away for free. So, yeah, why should they give you the facilities to have children? You got to earn that right.
How often I can breed? Maybe I'm rich. Maybe I can afford to breed more than twice. Maybe I'm poor, but I'm a really good parent, and I can afford it by...
Yeah, well, you're not going to be poor then, so that's bullshit.
Cutting corners elsewhere, putting them first and myself second. Again,
well, you can't do that. It's just not practical, right? $10 an hour, you can't do it. It can't raise a kid properly, no matter how many corners you cut.
I'm not arguing I'm not arguing for bad parenting. If someone has 8 children and they're on the dole, they shouldn't have child number 9. I agree with that. Maybe we shouldn't give them subsidies. I would agree with that as well, because I don't see why the government should start giving handouts to people who breed. I mean, it's a consensual act between adults.
Well, so you're making my argument for me. Well, I'm telling you, if you take away the subsidies, all right, force people who have kids to pay for education and health care and all the other crap for kids, you'll reduce population pretty quick.
At least biologically it is. So yeah, sure, I don't think the government should give handouts to people who have too many kids. But I don't see why the government should now have to say to me, or you, or anyone, that my reproductive organs are my reproductive choices.
Yeah, well, whatever. That's not the point, right? I mean, the point is your reproductive organs were given to you by nature. Mosquitoes, dogs, all kinds of animals have these reproductive organs. So the government's just placing the reasonable sanction on it and saying it's a very important mechanism you were bestowed with. It's like having a machine gun. If you were born with a machine gun in your chest, it would sort of make sense for the government to regulate when you can just shoot your machine gun, right? Yeah, that would make sense.
And are subject to approval by an MP or a policeman. Again, if we used this argument when it comes to abortion, the argument against abortion generally being that you're murdering children, the argument that is pro-abortion...
Well, I'm just saying, I don't think it's a rational argument. If somebody wants to make a rational argument, we do have animal rights legislation. We have laws against people. You can't, in this country anyway, you can't throw darts at a rat. You can't do it. Okay? You can't shoot a cow with a bow and arrow. Shoot a deer that way, but not a cow. I don't know the distinction, but whatever. There's lots of hypocrisy in law. But the point is we have laws protecting animals from abuse, And if somebody can make some kind of rational argument that it's consistent with how we treat other sentient creatures, but I don't think you can make that argument for abortions. So I don't see how that's an issue at all. I don't see the government has any reason to interfere in abortion.
Pro-choice, whatever you want to call it, is basically, well, it's about the woman's control of her own body and how it's her right to decide what she wants to do with that. If she wants to breed or cut out something which is in there, then that's her right to do that. And I think this Say No to Kids channel is, perhaps it has its heart in the right place. I don't know. I mean, I like a lot of your videos, but I think the conclusion, or at least the method of which to do this, is horrifyingly dystopian.
Yeah, well, whatever. I don't think it's dystopian to take away tax subsidies from people who have choose to make a mess and oblige them to wallow in their mess and clean up their own mess. Why is that dystopian or draconian? If you do that, you will create a huge decline in population, and the Japanese are already in declining population without any draconian measures against child production, and they in fact have huge subsidies for child production. So the point is that this is not that difficult to migrate population to negative population growth. And the truth is that, again, I'm going to argue that most intelligent people want to find something better to do with their time than attempting to play with the bomb that is a child.
It just sounds scary. Again, maybe you've changed your mind. I'm kind of responding to a video you made in 2008, but I've only gone to it because you've just started using this channel again. So I suppose this is kind of a sort of catch-up video, maybe. Have you changed?
Yeah, well, look, the principle is the same. So let's just say I didn't have the convenient answer of saying just take away the subsidies because we're already there. We're already there in the sense that most people aren't procreating sufficient to maintain human existence. Most people aren't. They're already behaving like antinatalists. But let's say they weren't. I'm still going to argue that in principle, they're the imposers. And if they can't write the paragraph, if they can't make the argument, they're doing it for a reason that's not for their sake, they want something out of it, then in my opinion, they're exploitanist. In my opinion, they're exploiting a child for their own gratification, and that should not be legal. You shouldn't be allowed to create living things for your own gratification. That's not right. It's wrong, and we should say it's wrong.
Changed your mind since? Would you still use this voucher system? How would you penalise people? And most importantly, why the fuck is it now the government's right to tell people?
Well, I mean, like I said, the voucher system was even a good. Yeah, I forgot about that, but that was a great idea. Because then people can have more kids if they want them. All they have to do is convince other people to give them a voucher. And all they have to do is make the argument on YouTube. Say, oh, look, I'm a great parent. I'm a fantastic person. I love my kids. I want more kids. I got to have more kids. And make their argument. I'm going to laugh at them, but, maybe somebody will fall for it and give them their voucher. So I'm saying that solves the problem. I'm just saying you want to argue the draconian methods. I'm saying I don't need to argue those. I'm not going to run away from them, but I'm saying they just don't. They in a very real, practical strategy, there doesn't need to be any of that.
People how many kids they can have. Thanks for watching.
Well, again, it's really not about regulating how many kids they can have, in the sense that, especially with the voucher system, you earn your right to replacement population, and if you want more than that, then you got to seduce it from somebody. You got to solicit it. You got to earn it, so to speak. So what's wrong with that? But the bottom line is, like I said, we're so much closer than people realize. And again, it's a small percentage of the population creating the excess population, and there's substantially people who don't have any money, don't have any resources, and really shouldn't be having any kids, let alone 5 kids. And we should be able to stop them with a simple bribe. Yeah. So, whatever. No, good seeing you. Wasn't as bad a video as I thought. Sorry, I just figured it was going to be some kind of piece of shit. But it really was kind of oldie, you know, same old, same old. I mean, stuff had been over already. But anyway, it's, you know, whatever, kind of nostalgic and such. So, till next time. 4 million videos today. Might have set the record, I don't know. A lot of videos today.